Hello, hello, everybody. Mr. Lyle will be right back with us. I didn't have time to grab something to show, so he's got some. He's going to go get it. But thank y'all for coming in. He'll be right back. He had to run out there to his boat and get some tubing so we can show y'all. This is going to be floating tonight. Thank y'all for coming in. We got to say some prayers for some people in our catfish community. I'm not going to go into any details, but please keep Betty and Brandon in your prayers tonight. If you don't mind, Miss Paula, there's a bunch of others that's in our catfish community needs a prayer. So if you don't mind throwing the prayers up to everybody. God bless you. God bless America. And we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. And Mr. Lyle, sound like y'all had a lot of happiness last week.
Lots and lots of it.
Lots and lots of it.
Yeah, man. It was going to town.
Well, and I heard a few PBs got broke last week.
There was.
And Miss D caught a monster daggum. What was that, a pike she caught?
A pike, yeah. Yeah.
That's a big old pike.
36 inches. But just to let you know what kind of fishery that is,
yes, sir.
They have to be 40 inches to be able to keep them.
Oh, really?
That's a special place, James. It really is. And there's a lot of people that fish up there, and they take good care of that place. It's just a special place. If you ever get a chance to go, you really should. And we had a great time. We caught lots and lots of fish. We didn't get into any of the what I call giants, and that would be 25 and above. We didn't get those this year. We usually do, but not this year. But we caught so many fish that it didn't matter. And I had some guys that was messaged me, and I didn't even get message them back till I got home, and they said, "Why didn't you go live?" Well, didn't have time.
There you know,
we was either tying lines up or catching fish or doing something else. I was trying to run a video camera, and I had 2 days or one complete day where one of the flaps on the top of my enclosure come down in front of half of the camera, and I didn't even know it. So that all that film is junk. I mean, it's worthless. But we did. We had one day, James. We had 6 doubles and a triple.
Dang.
Where we had 2 fish on at the same time in the boat, and once we had 3. And the next day we had 4 doubles and no triples, but it's just was chaos. I mean,
people don't realize when you in 2 foot of water and those fish can't go down, they tail walk, but they will run around your cotton picking boat and tangle you up with everything they can.
They will. And James, we've got video, and I'll get I'm trying to get this all edited. I got it all out of the camera cards today,
right,
and seeing how much I've really got to work with that's usable. And there's a lot of it that's not usable. We'll do shorts or TikToks or whatever they call that crap with some of that. But there was a lot of times when we was catching them fish, and they'd have chunks this big chewed out of them where they've been fighting, and they was fighting on top of the water. They'd come up, and I thought they was just rolling, but they was fighting. There's always 2 tails. They was nudging each other and biting and carrying on. And I've got a lot of video of that if I can get it sorted out. And they just mean when they hit them hooks, they would either take off sideways or they would slam it down and take off at the bottom. But they only go down as
far. They can't go far.
It was they're the most aggressive I've ever seen them up there.
Well, before we get started too much, Lyle, let's give some shout-outs in here if you don't mind.
That's a great idea.
I see there's Fishing with the Squirrel. There's Frank from Twisted Fish and Catfish. There's Twisted Fishing TV. I'm sorry about that. Catfish and Crappie. Want to be outdoors. If y'all don't mind, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And please share it out because we're going to give out some great information tonight. Let's see. There's more. There's Mr. Avid. Mike Irvin's in the house with us tonight. Wildcat Riggs. That's a new one for me. It might not be for you. Jose Catfishing. There's Lance McCougie, the
The cool
Hawaiian
guy.
picture.
Met him up there.
McCougie. Oh, I hear you. Well, good.
Really nice guy. Him and his wife both.
Was that his first trip up?
I think so. I'm not real. She don't live very far from there though.
Right. The real gal's fishing. I heard she's up there with y'all too.
She had a great time. She set new personal best all over the place and got sunburnt to beat the band.
Oh, oh, yeah. Catfish Fever Outdoors. Oh, this thing just jumped. There we go. David Smith, Elizabella Kirkpatrick, Fishing Fever. Get hooked. There's Miss D's in the house with us. And I'm sure Chad's around somewhere. James Kirkpatrick, P&B Catfishing, a.k.a. Paul Boyd. Who else we got? See anybody I've missed? Fishing and Freedom.
Creole was in there. Catfish Fever Outdoors. Welcome Lynn. Justin's Fishing Fetish. Mark
Angler of the Vial.
Catfish and Crappie. There's James Kirkpatrick.
Yeah. Sean Abney. I think that's right.
He follows us all. He's a great supporter
Yes,
of all of our channels.
Sure is. There's Miss Cindy's in the house with us.
Alan Dittmeyer. Hope I'm saying that right.
So did y'all have a pretty good crowd?
I don't know how many was there. It didn't seem like there was as many as there has been before, but like I say, we were so busy catching fish that when the day was done, we was ready to go in. And I had a couple of days at the beginning of the week where I had some boat trouble. I thought I just put a sending unit in my boat last year. I think you remember that.
Yeah.
And we get up there and it's got 3/4 of a tank of gas in it, and all of a sudden it won't start. So I troll back and take it in and check it out, and it wasn't pumping up. So my gas gauge just showed 3/4 of a tank. It was out of gas, and I put gas in it, and that fixed it. So we was out 3 hours that day and didn't catch but I don't know 3 or 4 fish. But the next day we get out and the ignition switch locked up. It wouldn't go off. It wouldn't go on. It wouldn't go to start. So I trolled out. We fished for 3 or 4 hours, and we went back in. We caught so many fish that day. I was ready to go home anyhow.
There you go.
And got that fixed that afternoon, and after that, it was smooth sailing with the boat, and it was down to business, and we made her happen. So
game on in, wasn't it? Joe Buck's in the house. Alan Dykemeyer, I think it's how you say his name.
Okay.
I seen another
Joe Buck 66.
Yes, sir. Asleep at the Reel, Crappie Fishing. Thank you for coming in. Ray Smith, David Smith. I think that's about it for right now. Central Valley Adventures. Appreciate everybody coming in, guys and gals. Like I said, please share this up. This is going to be some great information. I'm not here to sell tonight. I'm here and Lyle's here to bring you some different techniques to use the tools that you might already have in your toolbox. And that is float fishing. A lot of people underestimate what a float can do for you in your fishing. Lyle has proved for this last week the difference that it can make in a trip. So there's Cody Robinson. So Mr. Lyle, if you don't mind, kind of start us into the way your week started out and what decisions helped you make. What helped you make the decisions to actually use floats for this past week?
Well, my decision was made before we left that we was going to use them. Because for those of you that don't know, Cherokee Lake is a swampland, and it's a drain off going into Mendota. And there is a place or two where there's 6 or 7 foot of water for a very small period of time. But for the most part, the entire thing is 1.5, 2.5 foot deep.
Right.
Mostly about 1.5 foot, 2 foot. You have to run in there with your motor trimmed as far up as you can go, and it's full of weeds on the bottom. So you're all constantly fighting the weeds as you're driving in and going in. Once in a while, you'll get them tangled up in your trolling motor prop or even your big motor prop sometimes. So you have to really watch that stuff. But once you get there and you find a few fish, and basically that's hit and miss because I don't even turn my depth finder on other than for mapping. That's the only reason
And
I
that
use it.
shallow water is really useless.
It really is. So, but we have some spots that we had already picked out before we got up there that we thought would be pretty good, depending on how the day was. And James, Cindy caught 2 carp, a 12-pound and an 18-pound on cut bait
Dang
on
right.
Wednesday.
But
I
they get hungry.
never seen or heard of it before. And Chad actually explained that to me, that when they're spawning or feeding up before the spawn, they just go along the bottom. They're sucking whatever's on the bottom in their mouth, and it just
Yeah.
happened to do. But I mean, that was one, and then about 30 minutes later, the other. And that was them was fighting pretty hard in that shallow water too.
Oh
So
God, yeah.
that was a lot of fun. But
Them
they
some goes out
was
the shoulders on them.
Yeah, and they was spawning. The proof was when you picked it up, everything just run out. I
Yeah.
mean, they was spawning heavy. But
And
so was the cat.
you really about can't miss when carp are spawning, because they'll be up in them daggum weed beds and all up in them weeds, and you can see the weeds are thrashing and the fish are thrashing.
Yep.
And people don't realize them fish actually have to beat each other to get the eggs to come out of them.
That's right. And these
So
that we
that's what
caught
they do.
was out in the open water.
Yep.
I was blown away with that. I figured they'd all be in the weeds, but they was not. But
There's some, I guess, coming up.
it was fun.
Or whatever.
Yeah, we got on the fish up there, and the floats. Every fish we caught, except for 2, was caught on floats.
That's crazy.
Every fish we caught but 2. Now, I did have some issues, and I called you and told you I was having some issues. Those fish get up on that tail, and they're flopping around like a bat. Like you ain't never seen a bass fight like these do.
No.
They up there back and forth on that tail, walking in that shallow water, trying to throw that hook out of there, and they throw that bobber off.
Yeah.
And I lost several of them because you're in that shallow water. By the time you pull 2 anchors and go chase it down, it's already gone.
Yeah.
So there was no going and getting them. You just couldn't do it.
Right.
And Chad caught one for me and brought it to me. And Brandon told me that they seen one floating by, but he was in the same position. If he'd have pulled up all his stuff, he could, he'd have killed an hour's worth of time going and getting it. And he wasn't doing that. I don't blame him. He was catching fish.
No, there you go. I mean,
so that's how that works out. But we did figure out a way between you and Junior and telling me and making it happen. We figured out how to stop that from happening. And we used every size of float that you make. Now, the originals are a little big for what I was doing up there.
are you talking about the large?
Yeah. Now, I did end up using some of those in the end, but they're a little bit large. This size right here is my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know what size you call that.
That's the mediums now.
Okay.
It was the small, but now it's the mediums.
That was my favorite. Cindy used a lot of these. And we had good luck. Now, for those that are wondering how we stop the bobbers from coming off, that right there is a little piece of air tubing. If you use air or stuff in your boat, just cut off about 3/8 to a 1/2 inch of that stuff and slide it over top of this clip, on past the clip, and then run your line in the backside. This one's a little bit too long, actually. Right. Run it through there and up in there, and then you slide this back over top of it, and you won't have any more issues with that.
And from now on, every float that goes out of here will have a piece of that tubing on it now. Because I've actually found some at PetSmart that was cheaper than the clear, but it's black.
Don't care what color it is.
I don't care. So, and it matches the bottom and everything, so it'll work out perfect. Right. But Lyle, I do want to apologize for everybody
You know what? You didn't
bought
know they was
floats.
going to do that either.
That's the first I've heard of. I've had one other person one time before, but when we talked, they wasn't so sure it wasn't the way they had a big live brim on there, and it had come to the surface and swam around a little bit, so they had a pretty good water line around this, so that might have contributed to that float coming off.
Yeah.
But I can see the way them channel cats come up and fighting in shallow water and thrashing like crazy, of that line pulling back in between this clip, which that clip is strong, people. It don't normally come off.
No.
You know, y'all seen Paul, my buddy Paul, catching all those flatheads in shallow water and other stuff like that. He's never had that problem, but best be safe than sorry. So
that's exactly right.
Do what Lyle just showed you. Get you some tubing and put it on there, and that should eliminate that problem.
That's correct. Now, Frank with Twisted Fishing TV says, "How do you like that weed anchor mess?" I didn't care much for that, Frank, to be quite honest. But you deal with it when you're catching the numbers of fish we was catching. And
Yes.
Stephanie with Real Gals Fishing, she said she used 3 of her floats, and they did wonderful. That I will never fish up there again, probably without them. I'm that confident in what they did. And like I say, it's mud and muck and weeds on the bottom. And that float suspended. I'm just going to show them the rig I used, James.
Okay. Yeah.
This is, if you figure this is the main line here and a bobber stop right here. I don't know how much of that you can see.
Yeah.
And then I've got my small bead there. And then the 2 bigger ones, the bobber goes in, or the float goes in between those 2. Yeah. And I put 2 of them on there. That way this one slides down over top of my other knot. Now, you got your swivel and then your leader line. And I know it's hard to see because I have a green screen.
Oh, you actually can see it good, Lyle, against your shirt.
Okay. And then I tie a drop shot rig where that hook stands straight out to the side like that. And that's where my bait goes. And then I put a loop on the bottom about 6 or 8 inches below the hook, and that's where my weight goes. And we was using 2-ounce weights. That way you had a little castability with them.
Yeah.
And the bobber every one of them bobbers floated that 2-ounce weight perfectly.
Oh God, yeah. And even the tinies would have done that.
They did without any problems whatsoever. Yeah. And like I say, if they don't have to get down there in that mud to find that bait and dig around because there's constantly your motor's in it or something's stirring that mud and muck and stuff up, if they don't have to get in that, they're not going to. And it was easy for them to find our bait.
Want to be outdoors and avid. I ain't gonna be mean, but why am I just now hearing about it, guys? When I sell a product, I want y'all to let me know if you find something wrong or something ain't just right to your liking. The only way that I can figure out how to fix that problem is you to let me know. I want to make it right. I want to make sure that the product that you receive from me, and I know Lyle's the same way about his rods or anything else. Yeah. The only way that we know if there's a problem is if you tell us. Not everybody fishes the same.
Nope.
And, you know, like Lyle and them up there in 2 foot of water with them thrashing catfish, that's a lot of daggum motion, a lot of stuff going on. So if there's a weak spot, it's going to find it.
It is. And I've got some video we're trying to get edited and some of it we can't use. And I'm sorry about that, but it's just some of it just can't be used. And, Matt, I believe this is 1/4 inch inside diameter. It may be 3/16. It's whatever you use for, to aerate, aquariums and live wells and stuff like that. So, use it. But yeah, you're right, James. Nobody knows if something's wrong if somebody don't tell you. And, that's what makes the world go round is somebody saying, "Hey, this is not working for me. What can we do to fix it?" And then you fix it.
Yeah. No, Junior. In that case, James, I need a few packs on mine floated away. Ha 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 ha.
Well, like I say,
they was the original ones. Want to be outdoors, and you do have the newer ones. Okay, good. Use mine on the Missouri. They work great.
there
I'll
you
try
go.
to get a video. Appreciate it. Yeah. Please, guys and gals, there ain't too many people send me videos and pictures except a few of you. I'd love to have it. I'm working on a commercial type of deal, and I don't want my face the only one on that video. I want y'all's face and y'all's fish on there because y'all the ones actually field testing everything.
Jail. But I got to tell you, I was never so impressed with anything in my life as I was how they worked on those channel cats. Now we did get into some 20s up there, which um, most people say, oh, 20-pound channel cat. Well, that's great fish. But
Yeah.
so
Oh
was
God.
them
Yeah.
12s and 15s and 17s. I bet we caught 30 17-pound catfish.
Mm,
You know, and now I'm not measuring them on a set of digital scales. I have a pair of BOGO grips. We was
right.
going so fast that I was just looking at them BOGO grips, and they're not as accurate as a set of good scales, but
Right.
they're close enough for what we was doing. We wasn't in a tournament or anything. We was catching them and we was releasing them as quick as we could and getting our baits back out there because it didn't take very long. You had nothing on. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Keep the bows, Creole real gals. Let's see. Thought I seen a few come in. Yeah, Frank, give me a call tomorrow. I know I've asked you quite a few times, and your memory must be about like mine, about that long. So yeah, give me a call tomorrow. There's Vanessa Kitty. Hadn't seen her in a while. Thank you for coming in. So yeah, so the rig that drop shot rig you think is for what you was doing. Before we get too far, I meant to ask you, what helped you make the decision to put your hook right on the line instead of having like a 3 or a 4 inch drop? You know what I'm saying? Most like your 2 hook Kentucky rigs, most people have like a 4 inch in between their hook and their main line.
I'll
What's
tell
helped
you,
you make that decision to put it right against your line?
I'll tell you exactly why. I used to do that on a bumping rig, and it was constantly tangled up. And what happens is when it gets tangled up like that, it turns the hook back into the bait, and you don't get no fish. And if you'll
Mm,
tie it like I do, that won't happen. And Hagen Grubb's been after me and after me to tell him about a rig that I use for bumping. And I told him I'd tell him on the show when he does the show with me. And I almost let the cat out of the bag here, but I don't use the dropper loops. They're a
right.
joke in my opinion.
Okay.
You can use them, but if you're in current, you for sure got constantly that thing's getting
Yeah.
tangled, swimming around your thing, and then you're right up against it anyhow. Except for then what happens
Yeah.
is the hook point goes back into your bait, and then you've defeated your purpose. So I tie
Yeah.
them all like that.
Yeah. Okay. I just I thought that was what you had said before
Yep,
when you was talking about rigs, but I just wanted to throw that back out there.
absolutely. I'm an open book. When people want to know something, all they have to do is ask. Most of the time, I have already told people how and what I do. I am kind of holding that over Haken so I can get him on my show. But um, if somebody would ask, I would tell them because I want people to catch more fish, better
Yes.
quality fish, learn, and then they can share that information with somebody else, and that way, when they come up with something that's really working for them, they'll share it with somebody else too. That's how we've
Exactly.
always done things, James. You and I and Doc and all of us that has been a part of Catfish Weekly. We've always tried to help people catch more fish. That's why the show was started to begin with.
And not just how to catch more fish, but how to properly handle that fish, get it back alive and safe, so
That's right.
future generations will be able to catch fish like that too.
Yeah, and one I noticed it, going through them videos today. We had 3 fish in the boat, and we was trying to get them unhooked and put them back out there. And Cindy hollered at me, "We got to get this one in. It's been out of the water too long, and it may
Right.
be maybe 3 or 4 minutes, but for
Right.
her that was too long. It needed to be
Yeah.
back in the water, and that's just how we do it. We've always been like that.
Yeah. And I work myself, to death, especially like y'all talking about having multiple rods going down. You know, one or two of those catfish gonna have to lay on the floor for a second. But you don't want to let them lay there long. Alicia Barnett messaged me through Messenger, and you're gonna have to remind me about what, where, when, who, and how about the floats. Because if you didn't get them yet, then I probably didn't send them. It probably slipped my mind or memory, and I do want to apologize for that and why I was going to send them to you or whatever. But anyway, and a lot of people like using just a plain Carolina rig, simply
Yeah,
because if they can fish off the bottom with it, and if bottom fishing ain't working for them, then they can just snap a float on and they're ready to go.
that's right.
Uh, and I mean, the same way I like using a Kentucky rig, or the same thing, the dropper rig, and a Kentucky rig is basically the same rig.
Mm-hmm.
But I had been putting the loops on there. I will no longer do that because I
Well,
totally
it just
understand
takes
what
a
you're talking
second
about.
longer to tie them up like I do, and I don't know, Matt. I don't know what the name of that how I tie them is, and you
Right?
can pull that out if you want to do the loop. You can pull it out and
Yeah.
tighten the lines up, and it'll go like that. But I
Right.
specifically want mine. That's the same way I tie up my panfish rigs. I want
I hear
that
you.
hook sticking right out. When them
Oh
bluegills
yeah,
come
yeah,
up there to grab that worm, boom! I want them to get it.
yeah.
I don't want them to take no chance at anything else. But them fish are not line shy. They're not
No,
sinker shy. They're not hook shy because they don't know what it is until it sticks them.
there you go. Yeah, they ain't. People have a tendency, Lyle, in my opinion, to
Our
put
poor
too many
scout.
the ghetto
Damn it, the
rigs.
ghetto rig. We might do that.
Yeah, no doubt. That sounds a pretty good idea. Uh, we as humans have a tendency to put human emotions with animals,
Right.
and it's not going to happen. It's just
No.
not. Now, our domesticated dogs and cats and stuff like that, you think
That's
they
different.
thinking like humans. Basically, though, they want a burger, they want a sandwich, they want something that you're eating, or they want attention or whatever. But I mean, they're smart. They are,
They are.
because we train
But
them to love
they're
us.
taught behaviorisms.
Yes, yes, yes,
And they remember those behaviorisms, and they'll do it because you said to do it or because they just want to be with you.
yes.
But a fish is not like that. He don't want to
No,
be with you.
no,
He
no.
wants as far away from you as he can get. And if he's got a hook in his mouth, he wants rid of it.
Lyle, he said he wants 10 cents per sale.
Deal.
But so so basically, what you was doing, explain how you was setting. Oh, you explained your rig setup. What was you doing because of the mucky bottom? The reason that you was setting it up like that.
Well, I didn't want my bait in it. I wanted it above that, and above it is weeds, almost to the top of the water. Not quite, but almost. In some areas it was, but it's easier for them to go in there and they're swimming through them weeds anyhow. They
Right.
might as well grab them a snack while they're there, you know.
Yep.
And instead of going down on the bottom and fighting that mud and muck and I don't know what all's down there. The other thing I would like to mention right quick before I forget it, because you know how my memory is, we use shallow water anchors up there. Now, granted, I lost one of them. It got stuck in the mud on me. One got stuck in the mud on me, and I pulled the top of it out where it was epoxied in. And Chad went back and found it and got it for me. And the next day, I lost an 8 footer,
uh,
but because I was putting them about 6 foot in that mud.
yeah.
And then
Because
I
it
was
was the
still trying
soft.
to use. Yeah, I was still trying to use them the next day, and I was using that one that was only 8 foot without the 4 foot extension, and that was my fault that I lost that one because I just did. But I'll have them before I go back up there. Those shallow water anchors beats the crap out of pulling anchors through, like Frank was talking. We'll go through all them weeds and stuff because you got a ball this big around of mud on the anchor and a ball that big around of weeds on top of that mud. And you can sit there and shake it up and down or swing it around in that water. That stuff ain't coming off. You got to pull it off by hand. It just that's just the way it is. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's some stinky mud too, ain't it?
it doesn't. You know, some of them fish up there, James, that had the odor about like that. I don't know if they've been laying in it. They didn't show signs of laying in the mud. but
Right.
they had a terrible odor, and others didn't. So I don't know what's up with that.
I got a question for everybody that was up there. Did anybody do any freelining?
I did
That
not.
okay, because shallow water is a great place. Yeah, I don't know about all the weed beds and stuff, but shallow water is a great place to actually freeline. And you could actually freeline with the tiny floats, and basically the float ain't really in play. It's basically like an indicator, and throw it out there. You can use it because it might have a little more weight to get it out there, or whatever. But
Yeah,
freelining is good for shallow water too.
we with them 2 ounce weights. I Next year I will have rods specifically for Mendota.
I hear you.
They will be channel cat rods, probably 7.5 foot or 8, where I can really wing them baits and get them away from the boat. But what I've used every time I've ever been up there is the same rods I use on the Mississippi and Missouri River. And
Gotcha.
in some of the videos, you can tell them channel cats put a big bend in them. They're medium heavy action, and heavy backbone. Um, they
That's
bend
fine.
them. Yeah,
That's fine.
it is. They put on a show for you, and they fight. They fight at the boat just as hard, and most of the time they end up going on the other side of the boat, underneath it, out the other side. You got to drag them back underneath there. And with that ice rod, that was hard to do,
Oh, I'm
uh,
sure it was.
but it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I've always said. A channel cat will fight you all the way to the boat. He'll fight you in the boat, and he'll
Oh yeah,
fight you trying to get back out of the boat. So,
and they will bite DP wadding out of you if they get your finger.
yeah, they will. Yeah, them old big bells will really get you, buddy.
Oh baby, they'll
And
hurt
that's
you.
a when they get their hormones all wound up and them old knots get up on their old heads, and some ugly son of a guns, man. But
James, they had pieces of hide this big, 2 and 3 of them on top of their head, on their sides, on their back, where other fish had just took chunks out of them.
golly,
It
yeah,
was amazing.
I'll have to couple years. I'm saving up my money. I want to fly up there and go with y'all. I'll just do it.
Well, when the year you're gonna go, you let me know. We'll have everything ready, and we'll meet up there, and we'll go catch some fish.
Um, Junior, I got a friend of mine that's in here, Billy, and he wanting to know, are they spawning on Lake Wiley yet? I see Goobertown TV's in here, and Billy Davis. Thank you for coming in, Billy. He's got 3 different sets of my floats. Some of the very first ones, good people.
Annette Morgan's in here. Chrissy
Dale
Brown.
Hayslip, Miss Chrissy Brown, Annette Morgan. She said every fish we caught was tore up and marked up like crazy. Oh, I'm
We
sure.
caught some that was clean, but most of them. And I'm not trying to be silly or anything like this, but Cindy's stomach is so bruised up. It was sore up there. She actually quit one day because her stomach hurt so bad from the butts of them rods and them fish fighting her so hard. And she's caught big blues and never done her that way.
Well,
Never done her.
you're gonna have to put some of those big butt ends on there for her next time.
Something, yeah. But yeah, I'd never seen her bruised like that before. But the next one to go down, she was on it. So.
Oh, yeah. Bruises or not, she was getting that fish.
Oh yeah, she loved catching them things. We had a wonderful time. Like I say, we had a couple issues with the boat, but um, that happens. You can have
Yeah,
problems with brand new ones. I have had problems with brand new ones,
yeah.
but you just fix it and you go on. That's was easy. All of it was easy for me to figure out, so it wasn't a big deal.
Mr. Irvin, the paid tourist, is in the house with us tonight.
He's been in a lot of shows lately. Glad to see him.
Yeah. I don't think he no longer is over the road driver. I think he's doing local driving now, so he gets a chance to come in a lot more. A lot of times he's probably on the road while we was, going
Probably
live or
so.
whatever.
Yeah.
And he was bringing us some pretty pictures of everywhere across the daggone country out there on that road. He sure was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But,
so Lyle, with and you and Cindy, you said Cindy liked using the tall, skinny ones.
yep.
Do you think that they have a little more castability than the short, stubby ones?
I do. I think they cast a little better, and these are that was the reason I went to these on the ice rod, because that
Right,
thing doesn't cast very well, and
right,
I could throw these about as far as anything. The big ones, the mediums, I used them on there a time or two, but they're too big for that ice rod, and the others
right.
worked okay, but these was perfect for that ice rod.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I mean, and guys and gals, that picture that I posted up that's got the ounces over top of the floats, what I done was done a test on those floats. And the ounces are not how much they'll hold up. They will hold up more than that. That is fishable weight. When I consider you still had another inch and a half or 2 inches of float above the water with the amount of weight on there, except the large, it could have held a little bit more. But I consider that fishable weight. If you decided you needed 3 ounces on a tiny to get it where you needed, you could do it. Any more than that, then I would be skeptical about this, maybe the size of the bait. Guys and gals, your bait are really buoyant.
Yeah.
Your bait don't really add much difference to the way that float sinks. So there you go.
Yep.
Now,
Did I talk about these, James?
no, you didn't.
Okay. I noticed on the floats that you had sent me,
Yep,
the little bitty bead on in some packages was orange,
yep,
and in some packages it was green.
yep.
I'm using 80-pound braid, so
All right.
I would go to stick that braid through the little bead hole, and the hole in the little bead, in the green one it wouldn't go through. In the orange ones it would.
And see, I went to all orange, all yellow ones now.
Okay, that would be perfect then, because the
Okay.
hole's bigger in those. But
Yeah.
for guys that's got the green ones, or if you go to Walmart and buy the green ones because they sell them there,
Right.
just pick you up some of these. There's two sizes in there: a large and a small, or one's bigger than the other, and the hole's bigger in both of them. And it'll fit any braid line that I've seen. And then you don't have 98 cents. You're done. If you
You
have
know.
problem with your line, monofilament's bigger around, so some of the
Right.
monofilament may had problems too. But now I got to trimming it at an angle, trying to get it. I just doing
Right.
everything. I didn't want to go in. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to
And
quit?
let's see. I've got one. The problem is, and I have looked everywhere, and if anybody comes across the larger beads with the smaller holes in them, please let me know.
Well, they
I
got to
have
be some
looked
somewhere.
and looked and looked and looked at all the hobby stores, Hobby Lobby, Michaels, all of it, looked online, and I cannot find the larger beads with the small holes in them. So you have to use two beads.
Yeah,
I'm sorry about that. And if I go with a different bobber stop, like those rubber bobber stops, they work good. I don't like them because you can feel them going up your rod.
I did. That's exactly right, Stephanie. I can tell you where to get those little floats. Patriot James Ghost Floats. That's where you get them. He's got them.
Yeah, we can set you right up, but I ain't here to sell tonight. I think, well, if you get that, is that the little bead you was talking about, ain't
That's
it?
the one. Them
Okay,
right there
yeah,
are perfect.
yeah.
If you could get all of them with them, they work.
I found them at Hobby Lobby, and I bought every freaking pack they had.
I'll be next time I'm down to Springfield at Hobby Lobby. I'll be getting what they got.
Yep, they're actually in a tube, Lyle. They're not
Perfect.
in a pack. They're in a tube.
That works for me.
Yeah, and I like them better too because you can see them a little bit better.
I have to tell you, James, Richard and Stephanie was down there. Cluck, that's Real Gals and Fishing and Freedom. Those are some fine folks, and they fished with Jerry Parker,
Right.
uh, the whole time we was down there, and we had a ball with those people. They was great. Of course, the regular bunch of us that was up there before, we all kind of hung out and had a great time. But when Richard and Stephanie got there, and Jerry and Ernie and Chrissy and all of them, I mean, it was just, it's like a party in the evening, but except that I can't hang with the big dogs anymore. I got to go get me some sleep.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, that's the older you get, you like that old cat that's a lap dog or a lap cat. You just when it's time to lay down, your tail's ready to lay down.
Oh, dude, I used to stay out at them motels with them guys, them tournaments and stuff for 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, get up the next day and go fishing. And I can't do it no more. Just can't.
Well, I heard Miss Betty and Brandon was out early every day morning.
They was out probably as early as anybody. I don't know how they do it. Mark got up pretty early several days and went too. Um, and I was up at daylight or thereabouts, and hell, they was already gone. I thought, what in the world's going on? I'm getting up early to beat everybody out, and they're done gone. I can't figure it out. But it's okay. That's
Yeah.
what they wanted to do.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, that's one of them
Mark
things.
says 5 millimeter beads off eBay work too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's
Check it out.
I got a pile of them bright, which they're yellow green beads, and I like them. I was putting whatever color float with the bead color beads, and I'm gonna do away with that when I run out of the other colors. I'm gonna stick with the bright beads because if you drop them in the floor, they're easier to find.
You're right, Chrissy. They are young. We are not.
Yeah, yeah, and when you go somewhere like that, Lyle, because you don't get to go maybe once a year, you want to get as much fishing time or play time as you can because it's going to be a year before you get back.
That's right.
But you
And
don't want to wear yourself out so bad
no,
that you can't enjoy it.
that's a fact. And Mark and I had talked about getting together and going fishing with him crawling in a boat. Never happened. I mean, we just didn't. It didn't work out. Uh,
Right.
Maybe our plans need to be put together a little bit better. But everybody was having a good time, and he fished at least one night with Betty and Brandon. They went out in the evenings, and I think maybe twice. But they went out at night, and which I thought it'd be cooler in Wisconsin and Missouri. When we got up there, hell, it was hotter. Man, it was hot up there, and we all got sunburnt pretty bad. And but when they're biting like that, you don't pay no attention.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Did they do any good at night?
I never ask them. I think they did, but I don't really know.
Because that'd have been a perfect time to turn them lights on them floats, wouldn't
Oh,
it?
it would have been, yeah. Maybe that had attracted some of the fish, but hell, I didn't need nothing to attract
Yeah,
them.
no doubt.
We had that figured out.
Yeah, no
But,
doubt. But so you showed the rigs that you use. Like I said, guys, you can use Carolina rig. You can use about whatever rig you want. I would not recommend using a Santee Cooper rig with a float on it, because you want that bait to stay down where you want it. That's what the float's there for, is to position it where you need it. Junior Proctor, he's the one that come up with the dragon cap and stuff like that. If I can ever speed up the process of making these things, Lyle, I will sell them as an accessory. But right now, it takes me so long to make this part that I really couldn't sell it as an accessory.
Right.
Be cheating smaller. But the way he does it, and I know y'all can see it on his videos. If you haven't found Junior Proctor yet, Blue Dog Catfishing, please check him out. He does great telling you how to use them as dragon floats. Dragon baits way out the back of the boat. Set it up however you set up. The same setup you use on your planer boards.
Right.
But you use your float. And while we're doing demonstration, Lyles, we'll go ahead and show them.
Junior catches more fish like that than anybody I know.
It's crazy. He said there's a lot of days the floats outfish the planer boards.
Right.
And I don't know why. He says since he got that Garmin, He notices as he's coming up through his dragging areas, he can see those fish move away from the boat.
From the noise and
the depth. People don't realize depth finders make noise.
yes, they do.
And he said, but apparently those fish are coming back because they was there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
They was coming back, and when they start coming back in, all of a sudden, here goes those baits by them. And he's not suspending them, guys and gals. Don't misunderstand me. He's throwing out a long line, and then he's clipping his bait on. And he just takes and all of his, he don't use the regular tops. He used nothing but the dragon tops. And I got a piece of line right here, and I'm going to illustrate to you how he's hooking them on. I'm got to put it in front of my face so you can see the line.
Yeah, I understand.
So he don't worry about putting a bead on his line or nothing. All he's doing is after he throws his long line out his drifting rig or way out, and say he'll let it drift back 60 to 100 foot. Then he takes and clips this clip on, and then he'll open up. And these daggum planer board clips are tough. And he puts the line in there behind that nipple. So he'll let this thing drift way back. And the bobber, when it comes to the boat, it's about like your planer boards. You'll have to get up here and pull your clip off.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times in the river, Lyle, that he will come up in the river section down there at Santee. I don't know if it's in between in the canal or if he's going down there next to where you see palmetto fish. I don't know. But what he will do, he will mark, say, a brush pile. And then he will come up and then he'll set his trolling motor for anchor mode. And then he will do the same way he clips them on, but then he'll clip it in front of that nipple. If I can do it, my hands are so sore, I can't hardly do it. He will clip it in front of that nipple like that. For some reason that ain't holding. They changed my clips a little bit, Lyle. This last bunch I got, they kind of angled up in the front, and it ain't wanting to hold. I don't know why. I have to check that out.
Some of
anyway,
those
he puts it in the front.
I don't know if that is or not.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. They're the ends of them are angled back outward. My first ones were not like that.
Joe Newman, welcome. Glad to see you in here. Yeah, Chrissy's. That would be really cool to get to go salmon fishing. I think that'd be awesome. Amy Evans, welcome. I hope that James is the only one that's locked up because it looks to me like I'm still going and he's not. But he'll get it straightened out here in just a minute. Yes, Amy, Junior Proctor of Blue Dog Fishing, he's got it going on with those planer boards and them floats out the back of his boat. He's been doing it for a while, and he's the one that kind of developed all of that stuff. Now he's gone. He'll be back in a minute. Get that nipple. Don't let it beat you. Oh no, it got him. That's right. Yeah. He'll come back in here in a minute. He won't leave me here all alone. Surely not. Does he sell the clips separate? I don't know, Matt. I don't know if he sells the clips separate or not. It's possible that he does. I don't know where he gets them or anything like that, but there'll be somebody that gets them. James. James just sent me a message. He lost his internet. So it is all me, boys and girls. We're going to play till we're done doing it now. I see what he says here. It says he just lost his internet. He's got an emoji for that. Lance McCouguy, Port Washington we fish for them under slip bobbers this year. I'll be trying my Patriot James floats salmon fishing. That sounds like a great idea. Amy. Junior is a great fisherman. He developed the float system behind the boat and helped James come up with the right clips and the right stuff to make that work. And he's extremely successful with it. I have another deal from another company that I used years ago that done the same thing, but they didn't work nearly as well as what James and Junior has put together.
I just lost internet for some reason. I'm back though.
That's all right. I just took over like I knew what I was doing.
Well, good. It just went crazy and just went blank.
Somebody was asking if you sold the clips.
The little clips.
I think the big ones.
I don't know what clip they're talking about.
The float planer board clips.
The planer board clips.
I think that's the ones they was asking about.
Right. No, I don't sell those. Sometimes it's hard for me to get these products. Last year, what was it? November, I ordered them ones, and it was February before I got them.
You quite a while.
I ordered 500, and I got 200. So, that's the reason. Guys and gals, and I'm going to be straight up honest with you. Of course, I've always been straight up honest with you, and I always will. This right here costs a lot more to make than that right there.
I guarantee it.
And it takes so much more time for me to produce this because I want to make sure it's good quality and can stand up to the abuse of a catfisherman.
Yeah, let's face it, none of us are easy on equipment.
No, we step on them, we kick them, we drop them, and we lose them or whatever.
You lose a fish, you're liable to throw it up on the bank.
I mean, so I want to make sure that they can withstand the punishment. That was one of the reasons that I decided to put the light inside instead of on the top.
Which
because
is a great idea.
I was always worried that somebody was going to break that light on the top. And I know I seen Betty, she was still using the first generation when she caught that big channel up there.
Yeah.
So that is the reason I don't sell them yet separately. The planer board clips, now those clips, you can get them on at Amazon. I will post up the link to these. They're neat. Junior Proctor actually uses them on his planer boards too. I'll post up the link to them, and I love them. I love them. But from now on, there'll be a piece of tubing on them, Lyle, I'm sure.
Well, like I say, I doubt if I'd ever had that problem anywhere besides up there. But when they're in that shallow water and they're fighting and jockeying for position,
yeah,
and them channel cats fight harder than anything I've ever seen. I've fished the Red River. They don't fight nearly as hard there as they do in Madison. Now, that's a gospel if I ever told it. Them's the hardest fighting channel cat I've ever seen. And every one of them, whether they're 8 pounds or 20, it don't make no difference. They fight you every step of the way. And a guy would go up there thinking he's going to catch 3, 4, 5, 6 pound channel cat like you do around here, and get him an overstuffed bass rod and go up there and try to catch these. He's going to be in trouble.
Right.
Because that's not what you're going to catch them with.
This is on Amazon, guys. I know y'all probably can't see it. It's probably black. Hold up a minute.
Actually, it's pretty clear.
Come on, camera. Why is it doing that?
Now it's clear again, but you got it down.
But anyway, this is them. You can get them off Amazon. You can get them different sizes. The largest they sell is a size 2. I wish they made a size 1. Size 1 would be perfect, but they don't. But they work good, and I wanted something easy because a snap swivel don't have that little small hole in it, Lyle.
Right.
So if you use a snap swivel, then you're gonna have to use a piece off a sinker slide.
Right. And I'd rather not do that.
And that's something you have to leave on your line. And that's the reason I didn't really want to do that.
Yeah. There's a couple of comments here. Mark says, channel cats kept my planer boards down under the water. No joke. And they do. There's no question about that because they kept them bobbers under the water. And then Richard said he caught a 19.8 last week, and it fought way harder than a 30-pound blue out of the Mississippi River. Now, that's a statement right there.
Yes. Yes. And I'm going to tell you, though, Lyle, you get any fish, even a blue, when they're up feeding in that shallow water. When I say shallow, I'm saying under 5 foot of water.
Mm-hmm.
Those fish are aggressive.
Yes, they are.
It don't matter what. They're just aggressive.
Yep.
There's Crappy Day. What's going on? So yeah, I love shallow water fishing, but don't think that float fishing is restricted to shallow water, Lyle.
No. I gotta. I'm thinking the best place to try them down here is right in front of the biggest brush pile I can find, with a live bluegill about that long.
Yes, sir. You know, when oh my God, I just went brain dead. Chris Souders done his video on these floats. He told me something and I didn't even think about it. I've had so many different techniques that people's let me know, Lyle, that I would have never even thought about them, because really I don't fish rivers. I'd love to, but I don't fish rivers, and I never run across a reason why I would need to do it that way. But he was talking about throwing these floats and allowing the current to carry his bait down beside those barges and allowing that bait to look natural, like its feet up there feeding on the algae or the stuff off the side of those barges.
Yeah.
I thought, I would have never thought about that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Or down beside rock walls. Channel cats love rock walls, man.
Oh yeah. And I'll tell you something else that they dearly love, and flatheads do too. The wall along a dam where the barges lock through, they love it up there. They love it, and that's one of my favorite places to fish. But I'm a little ways away from them now. But yeah, they dearly love them walls.
Yeah. And the flatheads guys, Paul Sturwall, y'all can find him on Facebook. And Catfishing 812, these guys they wear the flatheads out with these floats. And guys and gals, you can use any float. You can tie a Coke bottle on there. Just don't think that float fishing is for brim or sunfish. It's not. There's some monster fish being caught floating baits. To me, that's really loud. I mean, really, that's probably one of the most natural ways to present a bait.
I agree. Because the key for me this last trip, and I think for most of the time I see it, is keeping the bait up off the bottom a little bit. That was the ticket this past week, and I think that it would work great for flatheads if you could suspend that up. I love that drop shot rig. I use it for a lot of different situations, but last week it was a lifesaver for us. And if I go into a brush pile and I want to suspend the bait up off the bottom, that's for sure what I'll be doing again. With a live bluegill, though, I'm going to have to rethink how close that hook is to that main line. Yeah, I'll have to rethink that.
Yeah, and really, that might be a better place to use a Carolina rig.
Yeah, it may be.
And but give you fair warning: fishing baits over top of brush pile, you're probably gonna get slammed, but you better be a float watcher. Because if you ain't, that float's gonna be gone, and you ain't gonna know where it's gone. And it's
I'll tell you, somebody that used to do some of that at night when he was recording is Luke Hinges. If anybody ever watched any of Luke's shows a couple of years ago when he was out late at nights, he used floats, floated them right up to them brush piles, and they would slam them babies. So Luke knows about floats.
Yeah, I got to get a hold of him somehow. I want to talk to him about that and some of the ways that they used them, and get him a set and let him try them out. Yes, you're exactly right, Frank. If you use anything else or any other floats, please try to retrieve them. I mean, I know sometimes they get away from you
Yep.
and you don't have a chance to do it, but we have enough pollution in our waters.
Yes,
Try to
we
do
do.
your best to get them back.
Yep. We had such horrendous winds, James, the first 3 days up there, that it would blow them up in the weeds where you couldn't see them,
Right.
and there was no getting them back. They
Right.
just, because in them weeds, I'm guessing it was probably 6, 8 inches of water
Oh, yeah,
instead of a foot
probably.
and a half. Yeah.
Um, and speaking of wind can also be your friend.
It can. It'll hold that bout away from you if you
Yes.
park your boat right.
Yes. And it can actually help you position a bait where you might not be able to cast it.
That's right.
So there's so many different things, guys and gals. You've heard me say it a million times and probably Lyle too. Fishing sometimes takes thinking outside the box.
It does. That's 100% correct.
Because if we didn't think outside the box, we'd still be throwing worms and chicken livers.
Yeah. I had every intention of taking worms up there and all kinds of other stuff. As it turned out, we took bluegill and they worked really well. We did buy 2 suckers because I was afraid I was going to run out of bait. And those, I even had a gentleman, Richard Cluck and Stephanie, give me a few. And I think ended up with 6 left. And I bought 2 suckers. They wanted $5 a piece from them. I thought that was a little pricey, but worth every penny when you don't have, when you think
Oh,
you're going to run
yeah.
out of bait for the last day. And I got 5 or 6 pieces of bait out of each one of those and caught fish on the suckers too. Of course, a sucker is a real oily, stinky bait, so they work really good and they're natural to the waters up there.
There you
So
go.
that worked out really good. But yeah,
Well,
I think that live bait, cutting them fresh, was very helpful. Also,
well, you had 2 big carp you could have used for bait.
it was too big. I don't want to cut them big suckers up in that boat, man. They was huge.
There's Mr.
Hey, there's
Palmetto
Kevin
coming
commenting on
in.
cats.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys and gals, there's going to be some videos as soon as I can get my bathroom done and get my house back straight and back out, guys and gals. There's going to be some short videos. There's going to be some I'll get with Lyle. We're going to do some short videos demonstrating the technique that he used up there in shallow water. We're going to show you different techniques for deeper water, for fishing river channels. I got a guy that actually fishes river channels, Lyle. He'll anchor right at the top of that river channel, use the current and the float. If he marks those those fish suspended up on the river channel, he will allow the wind or the current to pull that bait right down that river channel and present that bait right in front of their face.
That's exactly right. And I've been getting messages while we've been doing this show, James, and I will cut a video and show people how I tie that rig up so everybody will know.
Okay.
Because I explain it the best I can, but it's not really as good as just doing a video and showing them how.
Right.
So that's what we'll do. I'll get one of those done here as quick as I can.
And when you're looking through all those videos, Lyle, if you happen to got one that shows that float taking off across the water like Jaws movie where he's dragging the drum, please send me a piece of that. I've been trying to get that video for 2 years.
We had that going on for several times, but I don't remember looking through them. I watched every clip and kicked out. Well, here's my numbers. These are the numbers of the video files that I saved.
Oh, I hear you.
And the ones that are X'd out are the ones that doesn't have any usable. It's not that the video ain't good; it's the rest of the audio ain't very good.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, you might have to go in there and narrate in some of them.
Well, I might have to go back. And the one that really got me, that really made me the most aggravated, was on our enclosure where it snaps on to the front of the windshield. One of the snaps come off, and the piece that was supposed to be snapped fell down and covered half camera. So I got that thing on one side flopping around, and it's hiding the whole one side of the boat where Cindy's at, and fish going crazy up through there, and all you can see is part of the side of the boat where I'm on, and the float's sitting out there in the water. And I got a whole bunch of video like that, and then it's just junk, you know.
Well, at least it wasn't trying to film it from the bottom of the lake like Chad done.
I wonder if his phone is still filming up.
There's old fat catfish down there making long distance phone calls on it.
Maybe.
Uh,
Oh man, but it was a great trip, James. If you ever get around where you can make it up there, we'll have a great time. I promise. You catch a lot of fish, and you'll love Wisconsin. It's usually not as hot as it was this year, but it was last year was kind of cool. This year it was not.
the sun was baking. I could tell a lot of y'all are fair skinned redheads or whatever, and
Yeah.
that sun will tear you up, son.
Oh, it did. I felt sorry for Stephanie. She had some of them styling jeans. It's got big old holes and stuff in them, which I've never understood that because I want covered, you know.
Yeah,
I don't get it. But she had some bad burns on her. And
yeah.
her
Everywhere
face
there was a hole, there was a burn.
Yeah, there was a hole, there was a burn, and she
You know,
really
the
got
best
burned.
thing.
I get sun poisoning
Yeah,
from being light skinned and bubbles and blisters and stuff. Cindy got it this year. First time she's ever got that.
and you know, the older you get, I didn't never used to. I'd get red, but it would never blister me or burn me up. But the
I
older
think
I
it.
get, my
Yeah,
skin has changed.
I think some of it has to do with some of the medicine we're on. I'm not 100% sure, but um, folks, I'm telling you, if you have any questions about how and why to use bobbers, and if you're on the line about it,
Right.
call James, give me a buzz, send me a message. I'll tell you everything I know about them, which ain't a whole lot, but we caught a lot of fish, and they all come off of them, but two.
Tell them
So
the numbers. What was the total number on the deer that you got out?
we lost track, but it's somewhere close to 80. And the
only
first day
two.
we didn't catch none.
Right.
First day we didn't catch none. Second day we caught 4 or 5. And the rest of them come from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And like I say, one day we had 6 doubles and a triple, and the next day we had 4 doubles in the boat at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
That ain't nothing but just pure fun, Lyle.
It was. It really was. We got slime from one end of that boat to the other. I haven't had a chance to go out and wash it yet, but we had it all over us, all over the gear, all over the everything, and never opened the live well except to get bait out of it. And
Right.
we never kept a fish. Every one of them went back. So
Right.
all those fish that we caught this year, or a high percentage of them, will still be there for next year. And there was some bigger fish caught than what we caught. Now, I can't think of Lindsay, Tara Lindsay, Luke's girlfriend,
Yeah.
or lady that was fishing with him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that works out. She caught a 25. Chad caught a 22 and a half the first day. Somebody else caught a 23. Mark caught a 23 and a half, I think.
Yeah.
We didn't get into none of the real big ones. I caught a 21 and a half. I think that was the biggest one we caught, which is unusual. Usually we get some up around 30, but this year we didn't, and I'm okay with that. When you're catching them as many as we's catching, Betty and Brandon caught big numbers of fish, huge numbers of fish. They laid them out. Troy and Amy caught a bunch of fish.
So Luke and him was fishing the same lake y'all was.
I seen him up there where we was at one day, but other than that, I don't know where he was at. He's like, bull butter. He's everywhere. So, I didn't talk to him too much. Like I say, we was busy catching fish.
Yeah.
So Mark got him a personal best, 23 and a half. I thought that was right. I know that you're probably wanting to get out of here, and I've had a blast with you tonight, James, but I would like to mention, because I know you did earlier, for those of you that have come in late, Brandon, Betty's husband, had a heart attack today, and he had a triple bypass, and please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And Betty, too, she's a nurse, but this is close to home, and Brandon if you've never met Brandon, he is just the nicest guy you ever want to meet, and lots of fun to be around. He's as much fun as Betty is. He just don't. He's not outgoing online like she is, and
Yeah.
he's a super nice guy, and we want to make sure that that we keep him in his thoughts and prayers. And
We're
I
getting
think
ready to
we
go
were
off,
setting
and we
up the
got
chair
trouble.
tonight, so he was doing really well.
Somebody get rid of that trouble. Look, the last comment.
Uh,
Always some ass.
yeah, we get him sometime.
Yeah. I'm on my computer. Somebody get rid of him.
I got him.
Okay.
He
But
gone.
yeah, please send out prayers. And we have others in the catfish community that's going through a lot of stuff in their life. Guys and gals, a little bit of prayer don't hurt nobody.
Nope.
So send them out. And I know that Betty will appreciate it. But, I realize that on her side because my wife retired from a medic for 30 some years. And when I had a motorcycle wreck, I thought she'd be calm, cool, and collective. Actually, I thought she's going to kill me before the ambulance could get there. But anyway, so they ain't used to being on that end of the spectrum. So
That's right.
but Betty, Betty and Brandon, we got you in our prayers, buddy. And lady, if you need any help or anything, or just want to talk, my phone's always turned on.
They're awesome people, and if you haven't noticed, usually the awesome and the nicer the people are, they're the ones that end up with having issues and stuff, and they probably shouldn't be. But uh,
You know,
that's
it
kind of
makes
the
it
way it
stronger.
works. But like I say, Brandon is a super nice guy. I think the world of him, and we want him to get healed up so we can get back catching fish.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Lyle, I enjoyed tonight. And was it Doc Tales that come on at 10 o'clock tonight?
Yeah, 9 Central.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't forget to go check them out tonight. I don't know who they have it on, but
I don't have a clue.
I'm tired. I hope I can see it, but I'll probably be sawing logs. I'm
I
sorry.
hope you get that house done soon.
Oh, I'm getting ready. I should be putting floors in it tomorrow. So
Wow.
and then it comes to sheetrock and plumbing, wiring. I'm redoing everything in it. While I got it apart, I'm putting everything new back in it. They ain't used half-assing it. You know that.
That's right.
So,
You're right. Hey, I
but
would like to get a shameless plug if you don't mind.
hey, you do what you
Tomorrow
got to
night
do.
on Panfish Nation, we have Trey Bolton with Fish Smack. If you have not seen this guy, check out his videos. He's a blast to have on the show. Super nice guy. He does really good with his channel. He doesn't have. We need to get him up some subscribers up there, but it'll be a fun show. Mark and I will be going on live right after the bait shop at 8 Central.
Yeah. So thank y'all guys and gals for coming in here. God bless you. God bless America. We'll see y'all next Wednesday night. Same time, same place, I guess.
That's right.